Good for barring up, getting the aggression and the juices running. That's great. But I think that's all it's good for. After that, you've got to come off and do these drills which will help you with your scrummaging. This won't teach you about how to stay strong with movement. Scrummaging is we have to stay strong with movement, like in a game.
And remember what Chrono recommends. If I'm in the under 19 grade or below, I should be doing no more than 20 scrums on a scrum machine a week. Aim for quality, not quantity. Even adult club players should not be hitting the scrum machine more than 50 times a week, no matter how many teams they play for. Seems a lot, really. And please remember, at least 2/3 of your scrum training should be done away from the machine. Now let's look at some key factors of scrum engagement. Position correctly on referee's call. Crouch. Front rows are a safe distance apart. Crouched and bound. Touch. Feet, hips and shoulders are all square. Bend at the knees and hips. Shoulders above hips at all times. Head up, chin off chest. Weight off the heels and on the balls of the feet. Drive from a low position up. Back straight, spine in line. Eyes focused on the target area. Tight head binds onto the middle of the opposing loose head's lower back. Loose head binds onto the middle of the opposing tight head's lower back. Binding should be firm and held until the scrum is complete. But what do I do if the scrum goes wrong?
Just remember, when we're doing any drills, safety factor. So the one thing obviously we're looking at is our necks and our heads. So during an exercise that we're doing, or in a game situation, if your feet slip or whatever and we go to the ground, we're collapsing, what is the safest place for your head to be? Chin on your chest. So if it happens to slip, the golden rule is face in the mud or cheeks in the mud. Okay, let your feet go out the back, just fall flat down so your face just goes into the mud quietly or your cheek into the mud. So in a game situation or training, good technique, something happens, it's collapsing, our feet slip out the back, we put our face directly into the ground as such. Head is always in flat position. Okay, break.
And remember, coaches, the referees have slowed down the engagement sequence for scrums so that they have more control. So it's crucial that you make sure your players are fully aware of this. The whole idea is to make this part of the game safe, so get the ref to explain and demonstrate how he'll make this call during the game when he meets your team before the start. Let's get rid of all those resets. When it comes to injury management and reporting, a great place to start is with a bit of first aid training. Attending regular first aid training courses is a great move and is something you could also encourage your players to do. If you're interested in learning more about injury management, St John runs classes specifically designed for sports injuries. You can contact them by calling 0800 First Aid or visit their website stjohn.org.nz. And please remember, if I have received any serious injury, for example one that requires me to be transported directly from the ground to an emergency department, hospital or after-hours medical centre, it's essential you complete a serious injury reporting form on the day the injury occurs and get it into your provincial union headquarters within 48 hours. You can download a copy from rugbysmart.co.nz or coachingtoolbox.co.nz or get one from your local provincial union. If I am concussed, or you suspect I might be, don't hesitate. This is my brain we're talking about. Concussion can occur when I receive an impact to the head or body that causes my brain to shake inside the skull. If I am knocked out or lose consciousness, I have obviously sustained a concussion. But it is important to remember that I can be concussed even if I didn't lose consciousness. So don't just assume that I'm fine just because I wasn't knocked out. I could still be in serious trouble. Use the sideline concussion checklist to check me out. It's an essential tool to use to spot the signs and symptoms of concussion. Dazed and confused after a knock, ask me some questions to check if I'm aware of my surroundings and that my memory is working correctly. Questions like, what ground are we at? What's the score of the game? If I answer any of the questions incorrectly, or I'm very slow to respond, slower than normal that is, the chances are that I've probably sustained a concussion and should not continue to play. Watch for unsteadiness when I stand up or poor balance and coordination, as these are also signs of concussion. I may also complain of other symptoms such as blurred or double vision, ringing in the ears, sensitivity to light and noise. I may experience nausea or vomiting, a headache, or feel extremely tired or become irritable. If you spot any of these symptoms, I should not return to play even if I want to, or you need me to. Now let's be serious about this, guys. If I am concussed, I'm often unaware of these symptoms and may want to continue playing. I could even get quite stroppy, insisting that I'm fine and can play on. This is a good indication that I am almost certainly suffering from a concussion. So it's even more imperative that my coach and the referee take responsibility for my well-being, assess me, and make an informed choice about whether I should return to play or not. If in any doubt, I must be removed from play. And keep a close eye on me even after you take me off the field. Sometimes the symptoms of concussion might not show up immediately and only appear in the changing shed or even later. As the coach, you should make certain that I have a buddy who will make sure I'm not left alone for the first 4 hours and get me home safely for my parents or guardian to monitor. Give the concussion advice slip from the concussion checklist to me and my guardian so everyone knows what to watch for over the first 24 to 48 hours. Remember, I might not realise that I am showing signs of concussion, so I need to be watched. Like I said, this is my brain we're talking about. If I show any signs of worsening headache, increased drowsiness or can't be woken up, vomiting, increased confusion or agitation, weakness in any limbs, slurred speech, loss of consciousness or seizure, I should not return to sport until I'm symptom-free and I've been medically cleared. I must not play or train for a minimum of 3 weeks. That's our minimum stand-down period for concussed players, and it applies at all levels of New Zealand domestic rugby. If I return too soon, while symptoms are still present, it will slow my recovery and put me at risk of further concussions. If I sustain a second concussion before the previous one is fully resolved, the impact will be more severe and can in some instances be fatal. And the only way I can come back earlier is if I've been cleared by a neurological expert who puts me through a raft of tests. That's what happens at the professional level. Here's a guide to my recovery from concussion. We should all know it. Even after the mandatory 3-week stand-down, if I've been concussed, I should not return to play until I've been cleared to do so by a medical professional. Check that this has happened and don't just take my word for it. There are 145,000 players like me, so thanks a million for making the effort to be rugby smart and make our game safe for us to play. As a coach, it is your responsibility to show your players this DVD, and preferably to their caregivers as well, especially the concussion section, so we all have a clear idea of what symptoms to look for once a player has received a blow to the head. And remember, what you do keeps me safe.